Okay, good morning. Cohorts C and D, maybe A and B too. So I'm not able to be with you today, and what I had planned, there's a lockdown drill this morning. Gathering at 10:30 is not going to work. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start. You can see in my time it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I woke up early just for you people, and I'm going to start. And I'm going to do an entire ISP, and I'm going to just try to put it together. So what I would suggest you do with this film is you watch a little bit. I'll timestamp some things, and it might help to see, okay, at that time in the video he did this, and then you could fast forward to this part. At this time in the video he did this, and so maybe that will help for wherever part you're at. Wherever part you're at in the process, and I hope that will help you, so that when you come to class on Thursday, you have a full finished draft of your essay. So let me share my screen. I will turn my volume. I'll turn my volume off, and it's my whole screen. Okay, and away we go. So I'll talk myself through this a little bit as I go. So over here, I'm going to be doing my research, and then I'll be putting it together on this side. So I'm not using the typical research tracking chart. I'm going to just kind of find the research I need based on the lines that we came up with. So alrighty, here we go. I need evidence. I'm going to remind myself, okay, so what am I looking for evidence of? I am looking for evidence that my overall goal is that I want to turn the teaching over to the students in an attempt to get more participation. My goal is not simply talking. So identify turning the teaching over to students will increase engagement in student learning. So in online learning, that's what I mean, in online learning. So, all right, so I don't know why this is all bolded. I don't love that. All right, so I need research. So I'm going to go to Google, just regular Google, and research of empowerment. Okay, so I'm going to search increasing student engagement online. All right, student increasing. Okay, what do I got here? WBS system, 7 ways an online course. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, it's a blog. No blogs. Remember, no blogs. This is somebody's blog, which means it's user driven. There we go. .edu is yours from Stanford. Okay. Okay, so I know my research is right because pedagogy, and if I were doing the full research tracking chart, I would be cutting a lot of these and pasting them over, but I'm just looking for the nugget to match with student empowerment. Interaction. Push students, they evaluate access. Oh, I will actually need I'm gonna just pretend that this is kind of my insert table. I will do my I am going to need an annotated bibliography. So this is going to be my annotated bibliography. This is going to be my source, my recommendation, and my most important information. So I will need that element as well. That's not the source. So my first source is this guy here. I'll come back to that later, but just to keep track of it for the time being. This one's not so practical. I don't know how much I'm going to use from this source. Okay, this source is not helpful to me. Very credible source, but it's more of an outline. Doesn't quite support what I want it to do. So I don't think this is going to be a source I can use. So I got to go back to the drawing board. Please see that as a lesson. Okay, so what I might do is change my search parameter a little bit from increasing student engagement online to flipping the classroom. Let's see, try this. Let's try student driven teaching. Let's try, oops. Yes, of course, that's what I meant. Helping. Okay, education.corner.com. That sounds quite credible to me. All right, we got an author's name. The student-centered classroom. Here we go. This is better, right? This is where the focus of this shifted from the teacher to the student with the end goal. Okay. Oh, I like this. Okay, so this is a site that I'm going to use for sure. And I'm going to add it to my list of sources. So let's see here. So what can I take it from? Oh, there we go. I like this line. I'm going to use this line, and this is going to be my proof. I like this. Okay, so we're going to add this quote. In the student-centered classroom, the interests of the students take center stage. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay, that's going to be something I'm going to be able to use down the road a little bit. Okay. Turn your class into a community. No, this is role. That one's going to go with role. Okay. That's what it is, role. By involving students. Ooh, sense of community. Yes. Yes, there's more of a sense of community. Why would I? So maybe what I'm going to do, I'm going to change number 4 to builds a greater sense of community. All right, so there we go. There's a sense of community in the classroom. There's a better sense of community. You develop trust. Oh, a fifth one. Interesting. So I might add that down here. Develops trust. Finally, technology, creative environment, develops. So we're gonna say based on this source, develops trust, mutual respect. Yes, a quest for knowledge. So what are we saying? All of these great. Okay. I like that one even better than different perspectives. Students will feel empowered. They have a clearly defined role. Oh, you know what? I'm going to turn these ones into the same then. That's what I'm going to do. Students will feel empowered because they have a clearly defined role. See, that makes more sense to me, right? So then we can take this research, and we're going to get some more. We're not done yet. And then this guy has to go away. Delete row. There we go. 2, 3, and maybe 4, because I do like this. The focus is on the quest. The focus is on learning, not behavior or marks. That's what I would say. Okay, classroom. Well, yes. If there's no rules, then there's something different. So awesome. More. This is great. This was a great find. This site. So let me remind myself of that. A great find. This source was a great find. Awesome. Okay, let's try another site because I know I need to get, and I'm probably only going to use 3 sources for mine. So student-centered learning, that was my, Edutopia, it's a blog, darn it, I like that site. I can't use it. 15 examples of student-centered teaching. So, let's see, what are some things they do? Yes, allowing for choice. So I like that. Okay, so this is the site. The site's okay. So we're gonna add this one up here as well. So we've got a 3rd source now. Awesome, got a 3rd source. So allowing students to choose from 2 novels. Right, so when we go, students bring a different perspective, focus on learning. I think choice. So I'm going to use this down here. I don't know if I'll use it for sure, but there's some information there that might be beneficial to me. So, and when I get to my analysis, folks, I'm not going to use all of it, but I'm just putting the lines that I think might be useful. Oh, wait. Oh, shoot. That's teacher-centered learning. So we don't want that. So this website is contrasting different types of learning. So let's go to the students. Here we go. Oh, there you go. Place them in an authentic role in a literature circle. That allows them to have a clearly defined role. I like this. Ooh, we're crushing it now. We got lots of great research. Okay, start of the story. Great. Okay, so what I need using, so I need to change my search feature now. So using teacher experiences, sorry, not student experiences in the classroom. Okay, here we go. So teach using the lived Edutopia. Oh, there we go. Okay. Providing rich educational experiences. Okay. So another site that I'm going to use. So no, I'm not donating today. I'm so sorry. Okay, so another great site that I can use. All students benefit. Isn't the one I needed. This is about educational experiences, not using the student's own experience. How to make teaching more engaging, elevating student voice in education. That's the one I wanted. I know this one's an American source, so I'll have to be careful to see if there's things that are contradictory to my own experience. Okay, so elevating student voice in education. You know what I might do? Let me try this then. Student voice in education, and also search Canada. See if I can find a better source. There you go, making room for student voice. Okay, that was a great example of found an American source, wasn't quite what I wanted, and so I'm going to use the American one instead. Sounds like it's a first person account, which is great. Oh, and this is even Ontario. It's a first person account. Right, students weren't given a lack of opportunity. The second issue is connected user. This is actually probably a letter of change. This is actually it's a first person account from a former student. I like that. See, look, it's a letter. Oh, this is great. This is actually a letter. This might be something for you folks to look at. EdCan Network. Yeah, see, why not involve them in the process? That's a great line. Why not involve students in the process? Different experiences, get them involved. Yes. All right, so I've got a little bit of research for each one. So I'm probably going to have to do a little more research. What I like to do at this point is I'm going to change the whole font to the one I've been working with. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use Times New Roman. That's the one I write best in. Once you can use whatever font you want, but I'm going to use Times New Roman. I'm going to use font size 12, and I'm going to, I got to write some timestamps down. Okay, so I don't know what time it is in the video. I started at 6, so around 6. I'll have to check this later. Around 6:17 a.m. I was starting the analysis. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's important to recognize that my research is limited. I'm doing this again, as I said, on a fast forward method. You're not going to be able to do your research in 17 minutes. Okay, so please do take your time. The thing that I did want to show you here was at this point, so I've got my sources. They're sort of incomplete, but one of the things, ISP, that I'm going to, actually, I'll do the annotated bibliography at the end, so I will come back to that later. So I'm going to put all of this on its own page. I hope you're with me now. So if you're just tuning in, if you fast forwarded, what we've done is we've done some research for each of these points. And so I'm going to start at this point. I'm going to write, I'm going to do my analysis next. Okay, so the first thing that I think is valuable in terms of, my goal is to increase student engagement by identify the issue. So I might retweet this. I want to increase student engagement by giving students a greater role in the classroom. So turning the whole learning experience over is not quite what I wanted to the teaching is not quite what I wanted to argue. I want to just increase their role, and that will increase engagement. So if I can make a comment, sometimes you tweak your thesis. As you go, you're going to tweak your thesis a little bit, okay? So that's just what happens here. All right, so my first reason that the first way I can get students more involved, if a greater role in the class will lead to empowerment, okay? So students will feel empowered. The quotation I want to use, okay. I'm going to say something like by, and at this point with the quotations, you're going to reword it to make it make sense for you. So it might make sense at this point for you to merge. You might merge it all together, right? Your point and I want the point to always stand on its own. I think that's really important, that the point stays on its own. And some people were asking yesterday, sir, can I use my own experience? Sure you can. Yeah, you can use your own experience. You can see, actually, take a look up here that this font looks a little lighter. It's because it's come from other websites. So what I always like to do is highlight everything and just make sure all the font is the same color. Make sure all the font's the same color. So students will feel empowered because they have a clearly defined role. I'm gonna write first person. I have often heard from my students that they are bored during classes, like during this tutorial maybe, because they are not sure what to do. And I'm going to be really specific by giving them a more, and I'm going to use some of the language from the quotation, right? By giving them a more active, and I don't like those quotations, so we're going to put them, the rounded ones, a more active role in the educational experience, they are more likely to engage. For example, I'm going to give an example. You got to give an example, and I need 4 to 6 sentences, right? So, for example, if students are struggling in reading, literature circles. That's where students of similar reading levels sit together. Literature circles, circles, where they get to work with students, just where they get to work with literature circles. That's what I want to say. Literature circles, that's where like a bunch of students, I know what it is. My audience would, I hope, know what it is. For example, if students are struggling in reading, I want to see things like literature circles, literature circles, where what happens where students teach each other to read, rather than feeling intimidated by the teacher saying everything. This kind of model can allow students to feel, allows them to hear oral fluency and reading speed model and keeps them from feeling broke. This kind of model allows students to connect with their own peers, learning from students who are closer in their own abilities. The role of the literature circle. So I'm not quite done with this yet, so I got to come back to this because I want them to have a role. Okay, I've often heard from my students they get bored during classes because they're not sure what to do. So yes, by giving them a more active role, I should zoom this. Okay, by giving them a more active role in the education experience, where I'm going to say where they. I'm going to highlight, italicize the word they. They become the teacher. Means it is more, creates, let's say this, creates a situation where they are more likely to engage. For example, I want to see time for things like literature circles, and I'm going to talk about roles, right? That's the really important thing, clearly defined roles, where where one student might become the teacher of this small group, guiding his or her peers through the activity. This means not only does this student feel empowered right? By the responsibility he or she has been given, other students benefit, have the added benefit of not feeling intimidated by the teacher at the front of the room. So for this all requires that students. This all requires that students. This all requires that students. No, that's it. That's my first one. Okay, I've got my first one done, and I will proof it later. So that is my first one, and I'm happy with it for the time being. That's my first reason to. That is my first reason that I could increase engagement. I can increase engagement by giving students a more clearly defined role in the classroom. So at 6:26, I am starting PPA 2. Okay, here we go. So why out? How? Let me go back to my thesis, not to forget it. I want to increase. Okay, by giving students a greater role. So again, how do I want to increase engagement? I'm on to number 2. I can also, so I'm going to say this. I also, don't forget that transition. I can also increase engagement when I allow the different perspective and experiences of students to be given a voice in the class. Yeah, so I might ask a rhetorical question. I like how this guy words it. Why not? Okay, so why not involve? Usually, my department meets and discusses what the curriculum will be for. My audience is students, for you as students. Rarely do we ask students about what matters to them in the class. Why not involve them in the process of identifying specific issues and coming up with a plan? Why not? I don't know if I like all that. Why not involve them in the process of the specific issues? And then using again, I think that's the empowerment part. I italicize the word they above. I'm going to italicize your here. Your experiences to solve those problems in the 21st century, for example. 21st century, for example. Students spend hours a day online, are exposed to all sorts of things through the internet, and have a different skill set than teachers. A powerful way to increase their engagement is by asking them to regularly share their stories and passions and experiences within the classroom. This voice will help to increase engagement in the class. Okay, so second one went a little faster. Now again, I'm gonna have to edit it later. Okay, but for the time being, that's what I've got. So, but I want to remember always, my bolded sentences are my point sentences. Okay, so I should put it up here. Student engagement will increase when students feel empowered because they have a clearly defined role. Okay, so that was my first one. Okay, good. All right, so we'll increase, right? So the point sentence again is really important. Okay, so now it is 6:30. That one was faster. That one only took me 4 minutes. That was quick. You're crushing it now, right? I'm just getting a little bit. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, I'm drinking coffee and my basement's a little warm. So last one. Okay, so now third one. And okay, how do student engagement will increase. Actually, let me just check these for word counts. Okay, tools, word count. So that's 133 words. You know what? I'm only going to do 3. Also, because of the letter, I'm going to aim for the lower end of the word count. Again, I'm working on demands. You may want, for those of you hoping for A pluses, I would encourage 4. Okay. So let me, do I want to focus on engagement through a greater sense of community? No, I'm going to do the last one. I think that one's more relevant for me. Delete that row. So I'm going to do this one here. So then I might use a transition, and I'm going to say the final way that I can increase engagement is to put the focus on learning rather than managing behavior or marks. You see, a lot of the research online is about managing behavior, but we go to Bishop Allen. So we're going to talk about shifting that focus from marks. So this line, if you keep activities engaging, behavior will rarely be an issue. Having an engaging classroom with engaging projects, activities, and discussions will foster mutual respect. And okay, so many, this is what I want to say, many classes I have taught, you can use all your own experience, have taught in spend so much time motivating students to do their work because there will be a test, right? Or there will be a test, or the teacher, or because I will call home if the homework is not complete. Right? This kind of punitive, or like, like watching, punitive, that's what punitive, this kind of punitive approach means that students will never truly develop intellectual curiosity. Okay, they'll never in that curiosity to learn. Students, and this is where I'm writing, so I might address the students, I call on you to become, and another word I'm going to test, active in your own learning. I want to see you, and I'm going to use some of this stuff down here, engage, right? Engage in the projects and activities and discussions because they are interesting to you, and not just because they are getting marked. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use you guys as my example. I'm going to say, recently my students completed projects about their learnings in a unit about the Black Lives Matter movement. Although they were being marked, the students genuinely engaged. That's what it would look like with works of poetry and art and music. They're engaged with their own original works of poetry, art, and music, because the focus was on what they learned more than on the mark they would be given. Engagement increased tenfold, significantly. I want to see more of this. See, and this is again why I'm probably not going to need to have a fourth. This one was pretty long, right? My next one was pretty long. So I'm going to merge those cells. I'm going to put them together. So, alrighty, at this point, I'm done. What time is it now? Starting. See, that was another quick one. I had more to say there. PPA3. So it's 6:35 a.m. I am now starting to put it all together. All right, so welcome. We've just finished our third PPA. I hope you've been watching the whole way, but if you're just joining now, you can see that we've gone with 3 reasons that ways that I can increase engagement. Number 1, students will feel engagement will increase when we empower students. Next, engagement will increase when we hear their different perspectives. Number 3, engagement will increase when we put the focus on learning rather than marks. And we had a 4th, but you know, when I think about my word count, I'm going to check my word count here. This is without an intro or conclusion. I'm already at 432 words, and I think that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to write my intro and my conclusion. So I'm going to take my annotated bibliography, which I will be using in just a second. Oh, what's this? Oh, that was a different one. Another one. So we can take all this away. This was a student's exemplar. So we're going to get to something like this shortly, but because this is mine, we'll put my research down here so we don't forget it. We will come back to the research tracking shortly. So I'm going to start writing my letter now. So here's how you write the letter. You start with your date. The date this assignment is due will be, we're going to go back to the 19th and then add 7. So is that October? Yes, October 26, 2020. Okay. My letter for change is going to be written to Dear students of today. That's who I'm writing my letter to. Okay, dear students of today. I know what I'm talking about. See, this is interesting. Initially, I started with I wanted to get them talk during Google Meets. What it changed to is I want to get students more active in the conversation. And so you'll see that it's still about engagement. So my primary concern, engagement, right, hasn't changed, but I'm going about it in a slightly different way. So, dear students, I got to identify who I am and why I'm qualified. And some of that is here. So I'm going to say, I am teacher. You don't know how I might start. I am writing here's my voice, hopefully inspirational. I am writing to you today to let you know that I believe you are capable of making classrooms a wonderful place for yeah, that's not bad. Place for students and teachers. I believe, I'm going to use the repetition of I believe that together we can find meaning and passion in the classes, even though for the time being, so much of this work is being done online. Now, I want to establish the context. I understand that the current situation is difficult, and we're going to say, you know what, that might be a new paragraph. I understand the current situation is difficult. COVID protocols require less face-to-face engagement, and screens, again, what I'm doing here is I'm demonstrating I have some knowledge, right? And I'm going through this material here. And screens mean that sometimes I am not sure what is happening on the other side of the camera. But that doesn't matter to me. But that doesn't mean we can't. And I know in your initial writing, I said no contractions. You can use contractions in an informal letter, right? So doesn't and can't are fine, but that doesn't mean we can't still learn, become a wonderful learning community where each of us feels like this really matters. Okay. To do that, though, and here's my proposition, to do that, however, I need you. I need your voice and your experiences and your passion to come through. This is why I believe that the only way to truly increase learning is by, and this is kind of where I'm going to put my main message, is by giving you a greater role in the classroom. Okay? This is what I want to do. And it looks like for me, my formatting is weird. Format, line spacing. Oh, I got it at 1.5. It should be single space. There you go. So that's my introduction paragraphs. I address the recipient. I identified who I am. I'm a teacher, and why I'm qualified because I'm in this world. I shared some of my experiences and identified my proposed solution. Okay, so that's how it sounds. I'm going to delete that table now. And then I'm going to put each of my point proof analysis. So I'm going to delete this table. And so let's bring her on up. Delete. I'm deleting all this white space. Here it comes. All right, so now I've changed the tone. So you know what I'm going to do at this point? I'm going to merge. This will be a little quicker. I'm going to merge cells. And I'm going to cut that. And then I'm going to get rid of this table. I'm going to delete this table. This is my favorite part. So I still have a conclusion to write, but I'll do it later. Oops. So it wanted to put the box back in. So give me a second here. Cut. I'm going to delete the table again. And I'm going to put yes, students, Control V. There we go. All right. So, oops, there's some formatting things, right? I got to take a look. I'm going to leave the bolded sentences for the time being. Yeah, I'm going to leave the bolded sentence in. So I'm considering my own word count here. Times New Roman, format, line spacing. It was doing something funky on me. I want it all to be single spaced, right? So, and I should, oops, I'm going to bring that up to the top. There you go. All right, so now we're going to have to tweak some things later. I want to see more of this. So let me write my conclusion now. My conclusion, I got to restate my opinion and leave the reader with something to think about. So let's do this. Students, this depends on all of us. Right? That's how I restate my opinion. I don't need to say, I don't need to cut and paste. Writing, I should say, starting to put it all together. So it is now 6:43 is writing the conclusion. Okay, writing the conclusion. Okay, so I'm writing the conclusion at this point, and the conclusion will sound like this. I need to restate my opinion. But my opinion initially sounded like this. You need a greater role in the classroom, right? So I'm going to say this depends on all of us. Working, when we all work together, when I truly value your experiences and you truly value mine, when we all worked, this depends on all of us. When I truly value and you truly value mine. I'm gonna use I'm gonna use a repetition of this is gonna be a beautiful, my coffee's cold. I got so into this. Right? When I'm gonna maybe repeat some of my evidences. So I value, okay, when you take on the same responsibilities as me, and And when we forget, when we forget marks, but focus on, ooh, am I recording still? Let me make sure I'm still recording. Goodness gracious. Yes, I am. Okay. And forget marks and focus on learning and focus on just learning as much as we can. Then the classroom will be the most engaging place in the world. And then I'm going to close by return. I'm going to use my I believe. I believe this is possible and is within our power to do something about it. Thank you for taking the time to listen. You know what? There's a famous quotation that I love. It's by Margaret Mead, and I'm going to use that. Margaret Mead, never doubt. Let's do this. What is the line? And I'm going to use this quotation. Yes, this is a wonderful line. Margaret Mead, okay. Thank you for as one of my favorite writers says, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. And I don't want the whole thing. That's the part I wanted. And then I need to, of course, make sure my font, Algerian, we're going to go, nope, not Algerian. It was Times New Roman, wasn't I? Times, whole thing is bold, and I don't bold. Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Or, in our case, change the classroom, right? And then you know me, so I'd probably have a little emoji there. Good. Or in our case, change the classroom. Mr. Adrian Del Monte. Okay, there you go. That's our letter. All right, so now it is now 6:48. We will now begin proofreading. Okay, now we'll begin proofreading. All right, so let's read our letter here. We're going to make some edits as we go. So if you're just joining, let me wait till my clock clicks to 8:48. Have a sip of my cold coffee. Okay, so if you're just joining us, we've just finished our letter. We've got 3 good reasons. Let me check actually our word count. And be careful when you do word counts because there's other words on this document. So I'm going to check the whole thing. Okay, and I know I'm going to be around 600 words. That's what I'm betting. Format, line spacing. Oh, no, sorry. I want tools, word count. Yeah, I'm at 700 words, and I only did 3. Let me zoom out to give you a sense of what that looks like, right? So that's the total length. And because it's a letter, yeah, I'm fine if you single space it. You make it look like that, short paragraphs, and each PPA starts with the bolded sentence, the point sentence. All these other sentences are like the intro and the conclusion remarks. So let me read it, and I'm going to continue reading it with this like passionate voice because that's how I think. So we talked about yesterday. So that's how I'm going to proof it today. I'm writing and because I'm in editing now, I'm going to go to suggesting mode, and I'll make my edits in the comments. Dear students of today, I'm writing to you today. I'm writing to you. See, dear students of today. Dear students of the future classroom. Yes, of the future classroom. Because this letter is about the potential of the future classroom. I'm writing to you today to let you know that I believe you're capable of making classrooms a wonderful place for students and teachers. I believe that together we can find meaning and passion in the class in the classroom, even though for the time being, so much of this work is being done online. I understand the current situation is difficult. See, this is where you recognize the other side, right? A lot of people might say, nah, this is just, COVID will be over soon and we'll go back to normal. But that's not what we want. We want to have a belief. COVID protocols require left's face-to-face engagement and engagement, and screens mean that sometimes I'm not sure what's happening on the other side of the camera. But that doesn't mean we can't still become a wonderful learning community where each of us feels like this really matters. To do that, however, I need you. And you know what? That's important to me. So I'm going to italicize that. That's a writing strategy that you can take on, folks. You can italicize things that you want to draw attention to. I need you. And maybe not even I need you. You is the power, because I've italicized they and your, right? So that's the repetition. See, that makes a lot of sense to me. I need your voice. I need your voice and your experiences. I'm going to italicize all those pronouns and your passion to come through. This is why I believe the only way to truly increase learning, I believe, let's say this, I believe that, let's put my thesis a little more clear, that we can truly increase learning by giving you a greater role in the classroom. Good. Now I go into my solution. Student engagement will increase. Student learning, I think that's what it is. Student learning will increase when students feel empowered by their clearly defined role. I've often heard from my students that they're bored during classes because they're not sure what to do. By giving them a more active, I don't like active in quotation marks, I'm going to take that out. By giving them a more active role in the education experience, where they become the teacher. That doesn't make sense. Giving them a more active role in the educational experience, where they become the teacher, will create a situation where they're more likely to engage. For example, and examples are so important. I use them in every paragraph, right? For example, I want to see time for things like literature circles, where one student might become the teacher of the small group, guiding his or her peers through the activity. I want to see things like literature where let's say one of you might become the teacher of the small group, guiding your peers. Yeah, that's important. Your peers through the activity. Not only will you feel empowered by the responsibility you have been given. Other students have the benefit of not feeling intimidated by me. And hopefully what you've seen in the edit, it's becoming way more personal as a letter. Feel intimidated by me at the front of the room. Good. All right. I can also increase engagement when I allow the different perspective and experiences of you. When I allow so I'm on my second point now. When I allow your different experiences and perspectives to be given a greater voice in the room. Usually my department meets and discusses what the curriculum will be for you, for students. Rarely do we ask you about what matters to you in the class. Why not involve all of us in the process of identifying specific issues and using your experiences? In the 21st century, for example, students, you spend hours, this is my example, a day online, are exposed to all sorts of things through the internet and have a different skill set than I do. Okay, a powerful way to increase your engagement is by asking you to regularly share your stories and passions and experiences. This voice will help to increase engagement in the class. Good, that's my second one. The final way that I can increase engagement is to put the focus on learning rather than managing behavior or just talking about marks. Many classes I've taught spend so much time motivating students to do their work because there will be a test or because I'll call home if the homework is not completed. This kind of punitive approach means that students will never develop intellectual curiosity. Students, I call on you to become active in your own learning. I want to see you engage in the projects and activities and discussions because they're interesting to you and not because you're getting marks. I want to comment on something. By PPA 3, we had adopted the personal pronouns to the address to you. But when we wrote PPA 1 and 2, we weren't doing that. We were talking about it more generally. But as we put it into the letter, we've turned it into a you. Recently, my students completed projects about their unit learnings in a unit about the Black Lives Matter movement. Although they were being marked, the students genuinely engaged with their own original works of poetry, art, and music because the focus was on what they had learned more than on the mark they'd be given. Engagement increased significantly, and I want to see more of this. All right. Now my concluding thoughts. Students, this depends on all of us. When I truly value your experiences and you truly value mine, I don't need the semicolon. When you truly take on the same responsibilities of me, and when we forget marks but focus on learning, focus on just learning as much as we can, then the classroom will be the most engaging place in the world. I believe this is possible, and it was within our power to do something about it. Thank you for taking the time to listen. As one of my favorite writers says, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, or in our case, change the classroom. Wink. Okay, cool. Mr. Delmont. Okay. And that ends our proofreading. So it is now 6:56. We've gone through that in an hour. Oh, yes, I like my edits. So I am going to start to accept my edits. Oops, edit. Let's accept our edits. Oops, edits. Oh, I don't know why it's doing that. Edits. Oh, this might take a little bit of time here. Yes. I wonder if there's an accept all feature. Oh, it's just because they were too high. All right, here we go. Accept. And the main thing I hope you observed through my editing is that we changed the tone, right? It was a huge one. We went from will become the will create. Yes, I got to accept that change, right? Except we've changed the tone to your and you. Yes. Okay, I can hear some people moving upstairs. My family may be up, so hopefully that'll get us there where we need to be. So the next thing I might do is I might do a spell check. Okay, learning by increased learning. I believe that we can increase learning. I believe that we can truly increase learning by, yes, I will accept that change. Good. I can also increase engagement when I allow, yes, when I allow your experiences. Good. Another one, to change to your. A powerful way to increase your engagement. Good. Yes. So I did have a few spell checker things, grammatical things, and the spell checker caught them for me. So here's what I've got. In exactly an hour, we went from a few ideas to a finished letter. This is what I would like you to do. And as I'm thinking about this, you've been on here long enough, I will do annotated bibliography tomorrow in class. Okay, I will do annotated bibliography tomorrow in class. So what I'm hoping you come to class with is a full finished letter that looks just like this. Okay, I'm going to leave this on my doc. And just as a note, I want this to be on your planning chart. Okay, I want this to be on your planning chart. Okay, at this point, I will end my recording, and I hope you got this far. I do hope you got this far. If I had to say, where would I say the most? If I would say 6, 7, the research, maybe you didn't need to see me do all of that, but from 6:17 to now, that was 30 minutes. I really do hope you saw me put it all together. Please understand it's going to take you longer than 30 minutes. I do this for a living, and I'm really good at writing. I'm not bragging. I'm really good at writing. So that's why I was able to go faster. But here's our letter. I love my letter. I feel passionate. I can stand in front of students and say, this is the solution. Oh, I would also take all the bolds off. I'm going to leave them on now just so you can see, because that's the thing we had challenge with, the point sentences. All righty. Hope this really helps, and I'll talk to y'all soon.